Recovery on Air, the official podcast of Crossroads Addiction Rehabilitation. Candid discussion about addiction and recovery with the people who have lived it, along with input from experts on the journey from struggle to triumph. Laugh, cry, and be inspired. And now, your host for Recovery on Air, Kristen Day.
Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Recovery on Air, where we talk about the good, the bad, the miracles. Today's guest is a friend of mine, Wade, CEO of Plugged In Recovery. Even wore my blue shirt so that we could rep for you, you know. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I love Crossroads. I love this podcast. I love you, most importantly.
Yes, and I love you. The love is mutual for sure. I'm so excited to just get in, and you know, you're an inspiration to me too. Like for real. Getting on the Hopeaholics, you know, I know you had a hand in that, and I just really appreciate you. So let's get into it.
I love it.
I love it. So you do your own podcast.
Yeah.
And I've actually got to be on your podcast and everything. But I want to talk about the bad stuff first before we get into your whole life changing. And what was it like? What was childhood like?
Yeah. So, I mean, I grew up in St. Cloud, Minnesota. Very upper middle class, you know, played travel sports, did all the things.
Okay.
Everything on the outside would have looked like I had it all.
Gotcha.
You know, two parents that the worst thing they ever did is love me, you know, to death. If I needed a new bat for sports or whatever it was. But I can definitely. You
played baseball.
I was a baseball guy.
Okay.
Yep. And 2 back-to-back Babe Ruth World Series.
Yes.
You know, success when we were young. And I can tell you, anything that I did, even from a young age, I did it addictally and alcoholically.
Gotcha.
I didn't know what it was at the time, but I mean, you're talking Pogs, Pokemon cards, grape Kool-Aid for a little bit.
We're aging ourselves right now.
Anything that I did and I liked, it was all I could think about, and I obsessed about it. Thankfully, it turned to sports at a young age, and it got me very good at them.
Gotcha.
But the same thoughts, feelings, and emotions of sitting in class and being in a conversation where all I could think about was, you know, what I was going to do at practice or what I wanted to work on or drawing up a play or whatever it was, is the same behavior that I was later able to identify with when I'm sitting at Christmas and just thinking about, like, what gift card can I trade at half off to go score, right?
Score dope.
And it's really weird how it formulated, but there's nothing I can really trace back to, I would say, early childhood of like trauma or anything like that, because my behaviors were all the same. But when I did get into high school, my parents went through a pretty nasty divorce. My dad, it came out that he was a meth addict. I guess all of the signs were there, you know, everything.
You just didn't see it.
Everything that we owned had permanent marker on it. With our initials, because he, I guess, was just thinking everybody was going to steal all of his stuff when he was tweaking. I mean, even the permanent marker had our initials on it in permanent marker. And it's like, Dad, I don't think someone's going to steal the marker. You know?
No, for sure.
But he worked on the railroad, so it was very normal for him to be up all day and then just randomly like crash at night when he came home from the road or whatnot. So the signs weren't there, but in their nasty divorce, I ended up having to, if I couldn't live with one, I couldn't live with the other. So I ended up in foster care for a little bit, in group homes. And I think that trauma set off at the early age a lot of those addictive behaviors to now take its course in other areas when I was looking for coping mechanisms.
Right.
It's one thing that I firmly believe in, and I always try to tell is I believe that this is a disease. And I know I had this disease from the very beginning, but I think trauma is really what sets that off down its ugly path.
Absolutely. So, high school, I mean, did your addiction start then?
Yeah, so I would say my sophomore year of high school, I was already dabbling, let's call it. My parents go through what they went through, and I start smoking weed pretty heavily. But my sophomore year, I got hurt in football, and that's when the first opiates touched my system.
Gotcha.
And I know there's people who say, oh, your drug of choice, and I think that was the drug of no choice for me. It was just the second I had it, I knew I didn't care what else went on in the entire world, that I would be okay as long as I had this thing.
Yeah. Wow. Ugh. And then did it progress to heroin and
It
all
did.
that good
So
stuff?
I went and played college baseball for a little bit. Just tried to hang on there,
Did
and
you
that
have
didn't really work.
chance to play for
I
major leagues?
I was way too into the addiction. It really spiraled, and it didn't help because I would always claim arm pain to get more painkillers.
Gotcha.
So it didn't look for good for anybody, scouts, anybody that
Okay.
would have been looking at anything. I did play a lot of amateur baseball down in the cities for a subset of a team, which was a lot of fun and really competitive. But I do remember hitting the age where I just had this realization one day that either I can tell my kids I used to be really, really good at baseball, or I can start working towards giving them a life that could take them to Disney World one day. And what, as a kid, would I rather hear, that my dad was good at baseball or be at Disney World? And it's an easy choice.
Real quick, a touch on your dad. Your dad's also in recovery.
Yes, he is.
Shout out Wade,
Yeah.
senior, when did he get into recovery, and did that play a factor with yours?
It did. So he got into recovery. So I think he just celebrated, he's going to kill me, 14 years.
I was going to say 14 or 15.
14,
Yeah.
I think it's 14 years. And so he got into recovery before me.
Right.
Had the solution, Wade, you can change your life. You can go to this thing called AA.
Yeah.
And he knew I was struggling. I don't think he or anybody knew how bad I was struggling.
For sure.
But yeah, he had the solution. He tried to give it to me on a silver platter. It's just...
If we're not willing to take it, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and I think him of all people, it's so funny because like coaches would say, they would give me a piece of advice, and it'd be the same thing my dad said, but because they said it, I took more weight in it.
Yep.
And it had the similar effect if I didn't trust his process and everything that I went through with him. So I didn't want to hear it from him, even though he was trying to give it to me. I didn't want to hear it from him.
Right. I get that full circle because I did the same thing. You know what I mean? So you go to college.
Yep.
Addiction progresses. When did you start having like consequences and stuff for?
So I don't know if I had the same consequences that a lot of people had, and I was lucky early on, I'll say, I was lucky in that aspect of it is I hit it really, really well. The money short, the losing of jobs, things of that nature. Your grandma can only die so many times. You only have so many flat tires on your lunch break. There's all of those things. But I really was able to hide it and shield it because like baseball season would kind of start and end, and then it was like, oh, well, I lose the sales job, but I was because the season's starting and I want, you know what I mean? I was able to play that game a lot. But the consequence that I really ended up facing is I had a high school sweetheart. We were engaged. We were going to get married. I really, really wanted. She had no idea how bad it was, or that I was doing now heroin. She just thought,
You were
he
just
takes
hiding it
Vicodin
from
sometimes, and he smokes a little bit of weed, and when he drinks, he can, get out of control and sometimes wet himself.
Yeah. All those things.
But it was probably because of his injury that his bladder and stuff. I always had this charade going on, and but the consequence that I had was for the first time in my life, a year before we were about to get married, was I tried stopping, even reaching out to my dad to say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to really put a concentrated effort into getting sober.
Like going to detox and
I wasn't there yet.
Okay.
I wasn't there
got
yet.
you.
Because anything I had ever done in my life up to that point, if I wanted it, I got it. And if I put my mind to it, I was able to achieve it. And every experience up until that point reinforced that thought pattern, because it was like whether I wanted to make a certain team, or I wanted to go to a certain school, or I wanted a certain job, or I wanted that girl. If I put my mind to it and I worked hard, I got it.
Amen.
And so I thought this would be no different. And when I tell you, Kristen, that in this year span, and really it was probably a 9-month window, where I did everything that I could in my human power that I knew to get sober, as far as I went to like Tony Robbins, and I went to Les Brown, and I read books, and I did research articles and all of the things that I could come up with in my head to get sober. But the reality is that once I got to that day 3 mark and I was crawling out of my skin and I was sweating and I was sick, I always went and picked up.
Did your fiance at the time, did she start knowing these things? And
She started seeing that, gosh, you're getting sick all the time. You know, when you do drink, you're drinking to excess, and there was definitely those hints, but she really didn't know how bad it was. Yeah, she just, you know, maybe you're smoking weed and like you're getting sick and all of these things. And of course, I just couldn't get honest with her that no, I'm doing heroin. Right. You know, this is what it is.
Guilt and that shame.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I tried the scheme of, hey, let's go on a pre-honeymoon and let's go down to Florida. And in my head, I'm just like, if I can just get 1 week, if I can get 1 week sober or just 1 week of just drinking with the heroin out of my system, I'll be fine. And I remember it was Easter Sunday. We got back from this trip the night before, and we had to go to our hometown, which is about an hour and 15 minutes away from where we had lived. And it's 6 a.m. I get up. I'm in a full cold sweat. I just feel sick, and I know that I have to go to church with the family and do all these things.
Put on your game face.
Put on my game face, and I went and texted my dealer, and I remember I bawled the entire way to my dealer's house because I had just concocted this huge plan to go on this pre-honeymoon, and I spent all this money that I didn't have, and I was out of ideas, but here I was again, like doing something that I viscerally did not want to do anymore, but I couldn't stop myself from picking up. Yeah. And that was kind of one of those little clarity spots where it was like, you need help.
Yeah. And did you lose the girl?
I ended up losing the girl. Yep. In the process, it was about 60 days pre us getting married. She was gone. I remember I picked up the phone. I reached out for help, and this is kind of where Plugged In's the formulated idea starts.
Gotcha.
Is I pick up the phone, I go online, I research, like, I need help. Yeah. Call the number.
Are you living here in Arizona, or you're living in
I'm in Minnesota? Okay. I'm in Minnesota. I had zero plans to be in Arizona.
Okay.
At all.
God had other plans.
God had very other plans for me. So I pick up the phone, and I get this admissions agent on the line, or whoever he was, and, you know, what does he ask me? What's your name? What's your birthday? What insurance do you have? Can you send a picture front and back of the card? And I give him that, and he gets back to me, and he says, okay, great. Like, you can go to, and I'm going to make it up because I don't remember what it was, but it was like Tennessee, Florida, and there were 2 East Coast places, and then one was California maybe. Or
what year was this?
This was this would have been 2016.
Okay.
And so I pick up that phone, and he tells me I can go here, 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 and I say, whoa, whoa, whoa. No one knows I'm getting loaded. Right. And I need something. I'm thinking, like, let's start with outpatient. If I do have to go to somewhere, I can get honest about that. But, like, I can't leave the state.
Leave the state.
Yeah, this isn't going to work out.
Right.
And he goes, well, no. Like, these places will take you. You can go here, here, here. And, you know, in that moment, now, if he would have said I could go a mile down from my house, would I have went to inpatient detox and treatment? Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. But the fact that he didn't give me those options, or he didn't really ask me anything about my situation, just left this taste in my mouth where I didn't want to seek any more help. And about 20 days later, my life absolutely falls apart, right? She comes home from her bachelorette party. I had tried to get off of heroin and instead went to uppers, we'll call them. And I have blankets nailed into overboard or windows.
Psychosis?
I'm just the shadow police are everywhere, and like you know, I'm peepholing, and that van's been there for 3 weeks, and they're watching me, and all of the things. Totally. And this poor girl is a 3rd grade teacher, just being like, what is going on? Yeah. Yeah. And it was my mistake, and I'm excited that someday I'm going to get to tell it from a podium. Absolutely. You ever hear an old person talk about like an 8-track player? When they like describe it and then line it out. Sure. I'm going to get to do that about Redbox because, and I'm going to say it was this, you know, tall red machine and you took out and you got a DVD, and then you had this thing called a PS2 and you put in the DVD. But it was before she left to that bachelorette party. I had made an excuse to go pick up, and at the time Disney was just releasing their like real life versions of movies. And I got Beauty and the Beast. And if anybody knows the story of Beauty and the Beast, there's Belle and Beast. And it's a great love story. Right. But everything in this movie talks and sings. Like lamps talk and sing, candles talk and sing. Everything talks and sings. And when you're in a mess psychosis and everything in your house is talking and singing, there was no hiding it. So she got home and she's like, you need help. And I'm like, I need help. And everybody else is like, duh, he needs help.
Yeah.
So I end up in Arizona for treatment. And
What treatment center did you go to?
River Source.
Oh.
So the first time was River Source.
Wow.
Which I think all plays effect into everything, because if you know anything about like Plugged In, we really run a lot of that old school step 1, 2, and 3 model in our treatment center. So everything kind of played its part in the journey of where we are today.
So you went to River Source, and rest in peace, River Source.
R.I.P.
You know,
R.I.P.
it's crazy because I went out there to tour it.
Yeah.
And the next week, you know, by the way, we're closing. I'm like, what? Like, I just drove all those miles down there. Right. And there was like 60 clients there. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm so confused. But yeah, so that sucks. But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
So did you graduate River Source?
Graduated River Source. I remember in our coin out circle, somebody told me I was the Michael Jordan of rehab.
Yeah.
Felt really, really good about that. You know, it was one of those where it was like,
you were the model client.
Model client.
Me
Third
too.
day there. Let me get up in the morning. I'm going to lead the book study that I know nothing about. Like all of these things.
Absolutely.
And I leave there and I have to go to sober living. I don't get to go back home.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can't figure that out of how in the world wouldn't you let me back home? This is when I need you most and you can't be there for me. In reality, I find out later through this process called amends that while I was working on myself in treatment, this girl was canceling a wedding that she had planned out since she was 9 years old, you know, having to call every family member not to fly in and cancel venues, and already has the dress and everything. And my victim mentality is, well, how could you not be there for me right now? You know, don't you know I need you? And it's like, I wasn't able to show up for her during that entire process. But I end up in sober living. She doesn't come back. I get really resentful about that.
For sure.
I end up stop doing all the things that people recommended me to do. I'm, you know, going to be the Michael Jordan of AA, but I'm not getting gold stars and nobody's giving me good old boys and pats on the back. So what is all this for anyways? And she didn't come back. So why do I even need to do this? And I end up meeting a guy who, you know, wasn't done. And he's like, hey, you want to go hang out at this spot? And I find that heroin in Arizona is way easier. Different, but easier to get than it is in Minnesota. And so I'm like, I'm in heaven, you know. In Minnesota, it was like, I swear it felt like you were Mission Impossible every time you picked up. It was just crazy lengths you'd have to go to score. And here it was cool. You just pull up to a parking lot and 20 people run up to a paisa at the same time, and you're good. But yeah, it brought me to lows that I never thought I would get to, and lows that I also needed to see, because now that adds to the story of how I can help other people. I had no business being homeless. I had no business sleeping by canals. I had a family that loved me. All I had to do is say that I needed help and I wanted help, and they would be there to support me. They couldn't do it for me, but they would be there to give me a helping hand to get into the facilities.
Sure.
But I just had to hit those lows, and I see that today is God really working in my life and protecting me to show me these experiences I can use to help someone else out.
I love that. Yeah. And my rock bottoms were not, I'm a bougie ass drug addict. You got me fucked up if you think I'm sleeping on the streets. I only had to sleep in my car like one time because I got a flat tire at Motel 6, but that was it. You know, like I would rob, steal to stay in a hotel for the night, and I wouldn't do any of that. So I commend the people that do have to go through that rock bottom.
Yeah.
You know, and I've talked to you, like my rock bottom, you would think losing my kids and all of that. Like, it wasn't like that though.
It's not enough.
You know, it wasn't enough. And when I finally started doing it for myself and not everybody else is when it finally clicked. So you graduate River Source, you do all the things, you go back on this relapse. How long were you on your relapse?
So I was on my relapse again for, it was like a year on and off.
Okay.
Where I went into the CBIs, the I'm going to kill myself at Copper Springs, I'm going to try methadone, I'm going to get off methadone, I'm going to be on Subutex, and in and out with Kobe Love of CBIs, right? And I just I'm in this process of trying to figure out I can't keep going on like this, but I don't know how to be sober. And I'm at a point where I'm homeless. I'm holding signs for money. I'm doing these things I said I would never do. I don't want to be here anymore. I can't even seem to like kill myself, right? I look like I get tan, but I'm dark and I have like sunspots, and it's just like, it's all of the things. And I ended up getting picked up by my sister, and they had worked it out with RiverSource to scholarship me one more time if I would go back and go back through the program. So that would have been 2018.
Okay. So you got sober a little bit right after I did.
Yeah. Well, I still go back out after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. One more time,
shit.
I go back out, right?
Okay.
I had to face a different low. So I go to RiverSource. They scholarship me through. I get out, I go back to P&G Sober Living, I go through that, I get my job at GoDaddy. Life gets extremely good for me at GoDaddy. Now I'm making 6 figures. Look at me now, I have all the things.
Oh my God, it all makes sense now.
It all worked out really, really, really well for me. And I was like, see, this whole getting sober thing, and I use the amends, and now I manipulate the ex-fiancée back into my life, and everything is working out well for me. And look at everything that I've done.
Right.
And as soon as I turn it into look at everything that Wade did and not look at everything that God did for you, I stopped being able to make that connection. And before I know it, I end up picking up again. And this time it was a completely different low. So I always tell people I had 2 rock bottoms that were in my life. The first rock bottom was, homeless, country club in Brown, holding a sign for money, and just actively wanting to die. Yeah. The second one I had in 2020, it was right after COVID. And I had just gotten a check in my account for $28,000. That was like my commission check for that month. And I'm in a Holiday Inn and Ubering my drug dealer to me every single day. I have the unlimited supply. I have the girl back in my life. I have money. I have the car. I have all of the things that when I was homeless, I said, if I just had these things, I'd be okay.
I would be okay.
And then I had all these things, and I still wanted to die. And that was probably a lower spiritual moment for me when I had to really look myself in the mirror and just be like, you are the problem.
Now, if I remember correctly, Plugged In started like 2019?
2018 is when I started it, right?
Gotcha.
So that first little kick of sobriety I had is when I said, because I'm in RiverSource Treatment Center.
For sure.
And using my 30 minutes of phone time. And I go on the phone, and now I'm not Google geo-targeted. And I look up treatment centers in Minnesota because I'm trying to manipulate my outpatient plan back into the ex-fiance's life.
Gotcha.
Right?
She's in Minnesota, not here.
Yeah, she's in Minnesota. And I look it up, and there was a treatment center. It was like 5 miles away from my condo.
You're like, why the fuck didn't I go there?
This guy was trying to send me all the way across the United States, and I could have just went down the street. And I would have gotten help that day. And again, I don't know if I would have.
Right.
But in my head, I'm like, it would have saved my marriage. And it was all this stuff. And like, I don't want anybody to have this experience. And so that's why I created Plugged In Recovery and like the concept and the idea. Now, I had relapsed, like I said, shortly thereafter, 90 days or 120 days. So when I actually filed for the LLC, I was high on amphetamines and heroin. That's why it was built as a Delaware company, because in my psychosis, I saw that I'd get better tax advantages being a Delaware company.
Yes. I fucking love it.
I got to see like an old notebook that I had, and it was just, it's funny because you just look at all these like notes I was taking on how to start a company and how to build an LLC and what this was going to look like. And the idea for it was actually to be something more along the lines of what recovery.com is.
Okay.
It was going to be kind of a research website.
Yes.
I had already built kind of a very good social media following around it. So I was going to use that to platform the website.
For sure.
And God, I had different ideas for what it turned out to be.
Well, because I remember joining the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I think I joined in 2018 or 2019. And I was like, holy shit, dude. Like, wow. So, yeah, your Facebook following was great.
It was
great.
wild.
Yeah. So, 2020
Yep.
is when you got sober.
I got sober for the last time.
Wow. What's your sobriety date?
September 15th of 2020.
Wow. So you went through COVID and everything
getting loaded for the first part of it, just wanting to die, like I said, with everything at my disposal. And then the last time I got sober, I went up to Minnesota. I was using a little bit more up there. And September 13th of 2020 was the last time I did fentanyl. And then I got drunk the next day.
Fentanyl?
Yep.
I'm so grateful that I got out when I did, because the addict that I am, like, I would have died.
And it's crazy to me because, like, I tried it. I remember, like, 1 or 2 times before I had gotten sober in 2019 for my little stint. And when I fell off in 2020 there, it was, like, the only thing you could get. It just, like, heroin didn't exist anymore. It was, like, just these little blue pills, and you were getting them everywhere. And maybe, again, I think it was God working in my life that he kept me alive, but also, like, getting to that, because it took me to a bottom a lot faster than I think heroin would have allowed me to get to in a faster period of time.
Did you ever overdose?
I did overdose once, and it's crazy because you would think an experience like that, I always was like, well, if that would ever happen to me, I would be done, you know, because, like, this will never happen, and I smoke it and I do it the right way, and that you can't die this way.
Right.
And then it happens, and it's weird that the only thing you think about is getting high immediately after. To stop thinking about that.
Somebody Narcan you?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just.
Then it fucks your high up, and you're like, fuck this, I need to get high again.
And yeah, and now I got to do more.
Right.
Yeah, it was definitely an experience, and fentanyl in general is something that I don't wish upon anyone. And I know there's a couple newer versions that are out now that are just killing people left and right. You had just gone to the Fentanyl Awareness Day.
The Fentanyl Forum
Yeah,
with
forum.
Lindy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love her.
She's great.
I love her so much. It was awesome hanging out with her, and I actually have Detective Matt Shea coming on. So
That's awesome.
yeah, and I'm hoping to God that he can bring some of his stuff, because I'll show you videos of, like, the laser beam that they do to test it.
test?
And, like, oh my gosh, and this machine is like $65,000. And the first time he did it was inconclusive. Then he did it again in a different part of the chunk of it, and it came up fentanyl. And I'm like, holy shit, dude. Like, you're literally playing Russian roulette. You don't know.
No.
And I personally, I mean, I know that my meth was cut with fentanyl a couple times, because it would put me right to sleep. And then I'd go to my drug dealer like, hey, bro, I want a refund.
Yeah.
This shit
Give me that
is
back.
bunk. Like, this is nasty. So I would have never lasted with fentanyl. So your rock bottom, what did that look like?
So again, the 2 rock bottoms that I had were, the one is homeless country club in Brown, literally just trying to kill myself, whether it's, you know, by accident or on purpose, as far as, you know, shooting up. And the second one was in that hotel room when I had everything at my disposal, and I was just like, none of this is going to make you happy, and none of this is going to keep you sober, and none of this is going to fulfill you. Right. I remember I was watching church one Sunday morning because they had brought it all online, which I thought was super cool. And I'm, like, in the church chat, and I'm like, you guys are a super church, and you guys should have CR, and I would love to lead it and create it there. And they're like, sure, reach out. And then I think I nodded out or whatever it was. But
You were in River Source?
I was just
in the hotel.
That was just
Gotcha,
in the
gotcha.
hotel. That was in 2020. And I went back to Minnesota, and I'm on Mom's couch. And on September 14th, when I had drank for the last time, I got up the 15th, and I was just at my demise. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I didn't want to be sober because I didn't know what that even looked like, but I knew I couldn't keep going on like I was going on. And I kind of subsided my fact to this is how it was going to be, you know, because I've tried this sobriety thing and I always end up high, and it's way worse to start getting stuff back and lose it than to not have it at all.
Right.
So I book a plane ticket to come back to Arizona, and I'm just like, it's way cheaper to get high and be homeless here, and it's warmer than it is in Minnesota. So, like, this is the game plan. And I go to a AA meeting that day, and I would love to tell you I went to the AA meeting to hear some fire and to, get the solution and find God and all of those things. But the reality is I was going to the airport that night, and I couldn't meet up with my guy, so I was hoping I would get like an NA guy that was at the AA meeting that wasn't like done that had to be there for court or a paper signed, and and by the grace of God, I did not find that guy there. What I did find was a terrible withdrawal that just hit me like a ton of bricks in the middle of this meeting, where I just started it coming out from every end, and I was so, it was probably the first time I was so sick that I couldn't even picture in my head the effort it was going to take to go an hour down to Minneapolis and then a 4-hour flight down to Arizona to pick up sounded more miserable than just going home on the couch and like getting through it. So for that day, I just said, you know what, you can change, it's COVID. You can say you sneezed and change your flight. I said, I'll book it for tomorrow. I'm just going to go home and rest today, and then I'll leave tomorrow. And I just kept doing that for a good 15 days where I just said, you know what, I'm going to, like, if I want to get high tomorrow, I'll just get high tomorrow, and I'm just going to stay sober today, and I'm going to get through it today. And I kept going back to AA meetings, and
you were still in Minnesota.
And I was in Minnesota. So I ended up getting sober on mom's couch in Minnesota, going to just AA.
You didn't go to treatment.
I didn't go, and I love telling people that when they're like, "You're just trying to sell treatment and make money off addicts," and
I didn't.
You didn't either?
No.
It's
2017.
So
like I knew what I needed to do. I needed to get away from the guy, and I needed to fucking put both feet in. Again, not doing it for DCS, not doing it for my kids. I was finally doing it for myself, and I jumped back into recovery because I knew what I knew the steps. I knew getting a sponsor and thoroughly working them was going to help me. And I went to meetings, and I had my job, and I didn't have that rock bottom, I didn't lose my job. I went, as soon as I got sober, I went to my boss and I was like, hey, like I've been shooting up meth and heroin in your bathroom for the last year. And she was like, I thought you had stomach issues. And I was like, I did. I couldn't find a vein, but holding myself accountable. And she was like, oh my God, it all makes sense now, so, whew. So you do you get sober on mom's couch, and then what happens?
I started going to AA
in Minnesota.
And it wasn't the fast talking rainbows and unicorns and Amazon Prime, same day delivery of your character defects, talking like they do here. It was like one message. It was just, if you really want to stop, you got to find God. Whatever that looks like, it's going to be through these steps. That's the easiest way. That's how we've done it. If you just read this book and you try to find God, God will solve all the rest of your problems.
And did you get a sponsor while you were there?
I did. I had a sponsor. It was actually a friend of mine here.
Okay.
And I remember him calling him, and I'm like, dude, I'll Zoom with you every single day. Like, let's go page by page through this book. And he worked at River Source actually at the time. So I just said, can you, take me through this? Because I had worked with my previous sponsor to that on and off through all these relapses for like 2 years period of time. And I got to the point where I didn't think the steps even worked anymore. It was like, dude, I've done 1 through 3, 1 through 9, 1 through 3, 1 through 9, 1, 1, 1, 1 through 3, 1 through 9, 1 through 12, 1 through, and I was like, these don't work. Like, I want to work with you, and I'll check in with you because I think that's really good for the structure. And I just remember him telling me, it was Sam Soda Day, shout out, I love you, dude, was like, Wade, why don't you stop working the steps to get sober, and why don't you just start working the steps to find God and be a better person? And it was like all the things that I've heard other people say, but now I'm in this right moment of time in life where like they all just start clicking, where now I'm in the place where like they only talk about finding God, and I'm in a place where I'm ready to hear it. And he just talks about stop working the steps to get sober, like work the steps to find God, and like, and it's just everything kind of just click. And I think it's cool when people tell me, they're like, I don't know what's going to be different. And it's just like, I didn't know what was going to be different either. My previous experience showed me nothing was going to be different. But I was in a place where everything just lined up. And the process that's worked for so many others also worked for me.
So let me ask you, did you have houses for Plugged In or anything yet?
No.
Like, what did that look like?
So Plugged In was just a online Facebook, Instagram
Resource
page.
type
Yeah,
thing.
and honestly, it was a thorn in my side because it was something that I had tons of friends who, that I met in the program and stuff like that were now making fun of me. They're like, this kid can't stay sober, and he's got this company, and blah, blah, blah. And they were right, and it was like this thorn in my side too, because I would post stuff on Facebook and Instagram, and it wasn't like me fronting that I was sober or anything like that, but it was more along the lines of like just inspiration and motivation, and people would be like, oh, this is really helping me, and I'm like just miserable because I'm like, dude, I can't help myself.
Because you're loving and you're fucking
Yeah,
miserable.
and I'm just like, dude, I don't. This thing sucks. Like, I hate this. I hate this company. I hate all of this. Like, I wish I would have never started it,
Right.
but I have to keep it going. And so I had said to myself, because I was gonna get a sober living previously. I said, when I get a year sober, I'm gonna look for a house, and I'm gonna buy a house, and I'm gonna open up a sober living.
Okay.
And I was just dead set on that mission. And I knew from my job at GoDaddy that I made enough money where I could set money aside and I could have like an active plan, and it gave me something to shoot for.
So you were still working at GoDaddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank God. Only reason is I had amazing people there who loved me. They
Did they
got
know about your
addiction.
addiction?
They
Okay.
they understood it. The top 3 employees at that company were all addicts that I think would take a 1-month vacation, company vacation, at least once, if not twice a year.
To get sober?
To get sober, yeah. It's
Yes.
just like they would run them into the ground, and then they'd have to go to treatment, and
For sure.
they'd come back and then be great
Yeah.
again, and then fall off. So they were very supportive, and they really, really had my back in moments that I needed it most. So I'm super grateful for the leadership there, all of them who were a part of my journey. But yeah, I just set that mission that once I got a year sober, I was going to open up a sober living, and I didn't know what it would look like. I didn't know what Plugged In would turn into.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew that I wanted to have a sober living that was for someone like me. I thought that I went to a lot of sober livings that were great. Some had really good structure, but they were all little pieces that I wanted differently.
Right. So you take little pieces from those and you make your own.
Exactly.
And that's what you did.
That's exactly. And it's the same thing with treatment. Everything I've done has just been that.
Yeah. So when did you open your first?
So it was September 21st of 2021 was when I was just over a year sober. Was when 2022, I was just over 2 years sober when I opened up the first house.
Man.
Yeah.
And it started sober living, and then you did treatment.
Yep. So we started with one sober living. The next month I got a second one because that one filled up right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then we waited about 5 months, and I had gotten a third one, which was the first women's house. And that's where Miss Desiree and Lindy came on board.
Yes.
And then I had gotten the fourth house in the following June. So in the first year, or in the first, I should say, 8 months, we had 4 houses. And when I opened up that fourth house is when I left GoDaddy.
Okay.
And, that was something I really had to pray on. I had parents who were like, dude, you have a 401k, you have benefits,
Right.
you have an employee stock option, you have all of these things. Like,
Fear.
people don't get these,
Right,
you're making like multiple 6 figures. What are you doing? And, that's why I loved recovery so much, is because it's really taught me not only to trust God, but what it has taught me from all my experience is that staying sober is a superpower. I have built it all up to tear it all down numerous times. I know what it's like to start from zero.
Right.
And I'm not scared to start from zero as long as I know I'm doing it the right way. And so I had no fear in leaving that job. I had no fear in going all in on Plugged In because I felt like we were doing the right thing and we were helping a lot of people, and I was getting reinforced that in all areas. And I knew that no matter what happened, like, God would take care of me as long as I kept doing the right things.
Had your faith in God always been a thing? Like, were you going to church when you were younger? Like,
So I went to church. So I grew up Catholic,
Okay.
and we did go to church. I fell away from God when my parents went through that divorce. It was right around the time when I was going to get confirmed, and I was supposed to get confirmed, and something with my mom and the person, and they didn't want me to do it unless I did it with her, and it was just weird.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, listen, if you guys are going to come in between me and like my faith, then like, what is this faith thing?
Right.
So I really turned from God, and then I would still go to church with my ex-fiancée, who was they were very Catholic, but I only was there to just be there.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't trying to have any, if I needed to have that Santa Claus like relationship where it's like, what do I got to do not to get cold this year?
Yeah.
I was willing to do that, but there wasn't really any faith there. But where I really formulated it was probably somewhere around 2019 when I really started going to church down here in Arizona.
Okay.
Cornerstone specifically was the church. And I had this pastor, Pastor Brent, who he just really explained what it means to be, you know, a Christian.
Yeah.
And what that really looks like, and the sacrifice that was made for me, and how I don't have to carry all this stuff. And it just was something that when I finally had it broken down to me that way, that again, I was in the right place to finally hear it.
Right. Your brain was, you know, unfogged and,
Yeah.
and you could actually take it in. I feel the same way. I go to Pure Heart and Pastor Dan, like, I'm telling you, he like literally, I don't know if it happened to you, but the pastor's talking right to you and he's like looking right at you. And I'm like, oh shit, man, he's talking. Oh. And the whole sermon's about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, Jesus. Again, it's all God.
Yeah.
It's all God. So I want to talk about plugged in. Like, what is plugged in? What does it look like today?
It's crazy, you know, and I'm just so grateful for a community that's believed in me every step of the way.
Right.
I'm grateful for people like you and other friends who work at other treatment centers to trust me enough with their people early on in sober living, which helped me grow the sober living. And then when we opened up the treatment center, we had amazing staff that has, you know, gotten involved at an early point.
When did you open plugged in treatment
Center, so that would have been August of 24.
Okay.
So August of 24 is when we got our license and opened up the treatment center. We started with just the 110-bed location in Scottsdale. I brought in, it's a very similar situation like it was for the sober living, where it's like I took bits and pieces of the places I liked.
For sure.
A lot of the river source culture, the, you know, 12 steps, a little bit of the holistic approach, and then from a little bit of the bougie centers I've went to, and a lot of my own holistic care of like cold plunges and red light and things of that nature that I really, really enjoy. But then I went to Pinnacle Peak at one point, the old Pinnacle Peak Recovery, when they had a house in Scottsdale, and it was a very similar setup to how we have ours. And so it was weird how all the things just clicked, where I was like, I like this, I like this, I like this, I don't like that. How can I formulate this into one program? And we started with the one treatment center, and just, it's the staff. It really is the staff. It's not like this crazy cool idea or anything special that I'm doing. I think that we have staff that's able to really see the vision and carry out the message, and genuinely cares about the individual.
Shout out Greg Bravo.
You know, like it's really what it is. It's just,
sure.
I mean, that dude, like, God chases the one, like he will chase you down to get to your heart, to make you see you, you know, so you can force change. And there's not a lot of people out there that are like that.
You got to have that compassion and empathy. And I think a big thing is having that lived experience.
Yeah.
They're going to probably open up more to you knowing that you have that lived experience than you paying for a certificate and
100%.
you know,
Yeah.
oh, I went to school for this, and you don't understand.
That immediately, when I was in treatment, that immediately disqualified you from telling me anything else. The second I heard that,
you were like, nope.
Yeah, why am I even here?
So plugged in residential treatment.
So we started with the one residential treatment. It became very abundantly clear that we needed to have an outpatient. I saw the gap really in Chandler on the out-of-network side for outpatient treatment.
Do you work with the city of Chandler?
I do.
Misty and all
Misty,
that? Oh my God.
Q, Blair, like those are my people.
I wish that we could have that all out here in the cities. Like, city of Chandler is amazing.
I tell them all the time of like, you guys have such a special thing going on. Why are you not trying to recreate this in Gilbert and Scottsdale and Glendale and all of these places? And I feel bad for them because it's just like, these guys are frontline chopping wood, carrying water every single day.
Every single day. Yeah. So I want to, put plugged in on the map and plug them. So obviously you've got your sober living.
Yeah.
You keep it separate from your residential or from your treatment?
Correct.
Okay. So plugged in sober livings, plugged in.
Yeah. So we've gotten the whole setup, and it's gotten absolutely crazy over the last 6 months. So we have plugged in sober living. So we have 14 houses for the sober living.
Wow.
And all throughout the Phoenix area, you have Scottsdale, Chandler, Mesa, Gilbert.
I still have never been to a plugged in house.
Oh, come on.
I know. I gotta come.
We have 2 that are right by the center. So
Okay.
if you come down there and visit. So we have the 14 sober livings. We have a 10-bed residential that is on the super luxury side in Scottsdale. We have another 10-bed residential that's out of network in the Biltmore, Phoenix area.
Okay.
That is all individual rooms, individual bathrooms, just very different between the two.
For sure.
That one does a little bit more dual diagnosis. Our other one is really substance abuse focused.
Gotcha.
And then we have the outpatient center in Chandler, which is
That's where you record your podcast.
that's where the
all that.
podcast is.
Yes.
That's where I'm stationed, hanging out there every single day with the leadership team. We have a adolescent center, Mosaic Minds, that we opened up
forgot
on the
about that.
outpatient
Yes.
side. That is also in Chandler. Lena Moses and Braden are just doing a phenomenal job there. Really helping that community out. That there was another big gap, and like it was so cool because I was trying to court Lena to come be BD for Plugged In a little over a year ago, and she had sat with me at Protein House and was like, well, I have this crazy idea for, just a little different of an adolescent program. And I was like, well, tell me more.
Yeah.
And what started out as a conversation of me trying to court her probably 2 months after we opened up the residential, a year and a half later became a actualized outpatient program in Chandler. That was just her idea, and it's an incredible idea. It's really going to.
So that's her baby, and she runs that for you.
She does the whole thing,
Okay, and then
Revive.
oh my God, I didn't even know that you were part of Revive.
Yeah, so we bought
Jesus.
Revive in February.
Okay.
So Revive, so now that we have the in-network side, and those guys are doing such amazing work with the in-network side of things, being in Mesa, really mental health focused as
You
well.
got your hands in everything.
It's been a wild ride.
Holy shit. And then I had that dream.
You had the dream. You said it. You did say
I
it.
literally had this dream, and it was probably 9 months ago. I can pull up the DM, and I was like, listen, I had this dream that you bought Buena Vista. Yeah. You fucking bought Buena Vista.
It's crazy.
You bought Buena Vista, and you're about to open it.
Yeah.
And now you're going to have everything.
Yes.
You're going to have detox, residential, IOP, outpatient, and sober living.
And sober living. Trying to keep everything in the whole sphere.
For sure.
And just
How does that feel?
it feels really, really gratifying that, again, it's just like I've had the right people in my life, the right support systems, an unwavering faith that, God's going to make it all work out as long as we keep doing the right thing. And it's really cool because I get to see the change that happens, and I get to see a lot of the community that I care so much about genuinely make changes for the better.
Right.
And it's nothing that like I'm doing. I think what really speaks to it, that we're on the right path, is like the people that it attracts around us. Right. You believing in us, Tom Fay coming on board. He's going to be the executive director over there. I talked to the Michelles of the world, and
He's
the
going to be the
Bravos.
executive director of
Chandler.
Wow. Okay.
So it's when I know the people that it's attracting,
For sure.
and them being excited about it, that's when I know it's like, hey, we're doing something special here.
God, I had no idea that it was all that until you just I'm like, oh my gosh. Congratulations, dude.
Thank you.
That's fucking huge.
Yeah.
It really is. And like I said, just to have the whole continuum of care, I think that's the best. I wish Crossroads would, open up a detox again, but we learned very quickly that, it's an
animal.
It is.
It
is.
I tell you what, when I walked into that building, and Crossroads. I love Crossroads.
I know you
That's
do.
one of the places
Are
that
you still doing the meeting at?
that's when I love to go speak at. It's like they get people sober.
Mm-hmm.
That's a place that I will send someone, that I know that has the resources to get
appreciate
sober. And there's not a lot of places that you can say that for,
Right.
like that's really something that when you have people in the industry that will send their loved one or their friend to your program, those are
And they believe in
they
it.
believe in it.
For sure.
But I walked into that building the first time and I'm like, this is a hospital. You have 35 detox beds and 40 residential beds and linens and not just chefs, but like food contracts, like whole food contracts and linen contracts and paper and shredder contract. And I was just like, oh, this is another level.
Right.
It was very awing, is what I'll say.
Who's going to run Buena Vista for you?
So I'm going to start out.
Okay.
Me and Desiree. Desiree is like my number 2. She is. I would not
She's
be
your
anywhere in
right-hand
this
woman.
world without her. Senior holds down the sober living side. But I always say between myself, Desiree, and Eric, I think we could conquer some small countries if we just believe in ourselves and do the work. And those 3 will really kind of help me start writing Buena Vista. We also have amazing people already in place. The Tucson executive director, Jose, he's already in place down there. Tom with Chandler and the Gambit facility and everything there. We have Paul and P&G is on board, so we're setting up a lot of the housing structure. That's one thing that I think from what I've seen, hasn't worked well in a lot of places. Is like the housing portion is really hard to figure out.
Right.
And housing is a vital piece to long-term sobriety.
Amen.
So if we get these housing providers to...
Are you still part of ASRA?
Yes, I'm still the president of ASRA.
Yeah.
So working on
Where
that.
do you get all the time? Like,
I don't. It's...
I'm like, I thought I was busy.
I'm super grateful that I love what I do.
Right.
I hate vacationing from my current life, and that's what I always wanted to be in, was in a position where I do not like to go away.
Yeah.
I'm so happy every single day that I get to do what I do with the people I love. My dad and me, we're best friends. I get to see him every day. He drives the druggie buggy from the people with sober living and from the center. My mom and my stepdad and my sister are all involved. And, I get Scott and Brittany, who are really handling a lot on the new treatment center. I got a lot of support at home with my girlfriend. Like, it's just, I'm in such a place in my life where like all the things are working for me, not against me. And I just try to stay positive and grateful and
You're so humble.
and get up every day and work hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I can't even ask what are there any new things for Plugged In or anything like that you got in the works?
So we are working on the last stage on the out of network side that we don't have.
Okay.
Which is detox. And
For Plugged In.
For Plugged In.
Okay.
And not really necessarily just Plugged In. I think just out of network in general, there could use another detox option.
Are you going to be using Buena Vista or are you going to opening another one?
We're looking at a new
Holy
one.
shit, dude.
And then we're looking at sticking the flag in another state. Those are kind of the 2 projects that are
What
in
state?
the works. Texas is one that's
Okay.
possible. Colorado is one.
Okay.
And then my dream has always been Minnesota.
Minnesota.
That's always
That's
been
what I
my
was
dream.
waiting for.
Yeah.
See if do in your hometown.
I don't know where we'll get to before that. I think Colorado and Texas will be first,
Yeah.
but the goal is Minnesota, and I won't stop till I get that done.
Any access funded stuff for
One of this is we'll have all the contracts.
We'll
on the
all
Medicaid
have
side.
access
Yeah.
funded, but
Yeah.
not Plugged In.
No.
Plugged In is all commercial
Commercial.
insurance.
All
Got
commercial.
you. Got you.
And I'll keep it that way.
Yeah.
We are working and hopefully I can keep advocating on the ASRA side of things, and with the help of great recovery leaders who are in this space, in this community, we could be some access funded when we can get sober living to cross the threshold of Medicaid paying for some sober living. But until that happens, no, we'll stick to.
Have you has access? I mean, you haven't even opened Buena Vista yet, so it hasn't affected you with access and everything changing and
No, I'm just, that's another animal.
right. Right.
And I don't need to know everything. I got the people in place, which is the best part.
Amen.
Right?
Amen. But man, I am just so proud of you, dude. Like that is so amazing how much you've accomplished just in this little time.
It's a very short window.
And it shows that you can do this if you put your mind to it. So, man.
And you know this though.
Yeah.
Like, look at your story, and look at all that you've accomplished, and you know, you and Ian, and it's just you have your hands in a plethora of different things, which I love.
Yeah.
But it's something that I really think it's people like you and myself to be advocates of. Your life isn't over when you get sober. It's just beginning, and you can plant yourself. And in, you know, did you ruin your life overnight? No, right? It took years to ruin your life. And are you going to get it all back overnight? No, it's going to take time to get it back. But I can tell you that you're a first-class example of you can get back a lot more than you lost in a shorter period of time, as long as you just show up, you do the right things and do them for the right reasons.
Right.
Like God will take care of the results, and it's a really cool place to be in when you don't have to worry about what's going to happen anymore.
You put God in the center and everything else will fall into place.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, again, I just thank you so much for coming out and just sharing your story. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so excited to just see everything come to life. And please let us know about when grand opening is for Buena Vista, and just congratulations on all your success, and keep doing what you're doing because you are amazing. And if you are struggling and you need help, you can always reach out to thecrossroadsinc.org. We are open Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m., 2002 East Osborne Road, and we take all access plans and all commercial insurance. So again, Wade, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story, and with that, I'll pass. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Recovery on Air, the official podcast of Crossroads Addiction Rehabilitation, with your host, Kristen Day. Join us next time as we continue our candid discussions about addiction and recovery. Listen 24/7 anytime to this or any of our shows online at starworldwidenetworks.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.